It's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akasha Zaviri.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very fine, very, very excited this morning. I don't know why.
What's exciting you?
I wake up like this most times, so it's good that it's back. Yesterday was such a beautiful experience at the debate. They shortlisted all 5 finals standing for the final debate. Finalists were 5 girls.
Wow.
5 girls from Lagos State public schools.
Wow.
Awesome. Amazing. And they gave them the spontaneous topics in an envelope this time, so you don't get prepared, and they still did outstandingly well. I must commend the winner. I didn't meet her debate. I came in late. So, but the second session she did, I was impressed. And Charles was sitting with me, and she was saying, this girl, she came to win. She came on fire. She deserved to win. Well done, YK. The gifts were, again, very encouraging. Phones, tabs, laptops, you know, and bags.
Really cool.
YK.
YK has been very consistent.
Very consistent. And the schools got musical instruments, so that should promote music.
Well
in
done,
schools.
well done, Celebration schools debate.
And only public schools, sorry.
No, private schools children came. You know, those ones already have tabs, distracted. So they didn't do well. But the public
because
school,
they had tabs.
I'm just saying, they have all the distractions. So they thought the topic, COVID, a curse or a blessing, would be something I would just wing it. But these public school
They
children...
came prepared. Stop being all teenagers. Public and private schools, they are all still children.
No, but Lagos State,
they're all
seriously, Lagos State public schools, they can compete anywhere. And that's the fact. And please, for their primary health care, those distributing vaccines, you know, they've given the first dose and they stopped coming to the primary health care centers. And I had 6 older people yesterday waiting for me at home. They took their vaccines in Ojo and they went back. They are due today, yesterday, and there were no vaccines. Nobody there. Please, whoever is in charge of it, ensure that they go to Ojo today, tomorrow, and give people their second doses of vaccines. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Amazing. See, I've been using some of my time to watch this show, The Crown. And sometimes, wherever you find yourself, just be grateful for what you have, where you are. You look at people, you assume that life is perfect because they are behind, you know, big golden gates. But the thing is, everybody is going through something. Everybody has a challenge. And because of that, also, we should be kinder to people because you don't know where they're coming from, what their issues are.
I watched that too, and I learned quite a lot of lessons. I'm not one that is big on the British monarch. No, I like series, but the monarch has never been a big deal to me. But I'm not sure what really spurred it, but I watched the entire season.
You feel some sympathy.
You feel like, you feel that sympathy. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, taking it one day at a time.
I like the hair.
Thank you. Yeah. I have a lot of projects I'm working on, but I'm not in a hurry. I'm just, breaking it down. I'm sort of in my mind, I'm resting this period, at least for the first term. The kids are moving in seamlessly into school and all that. So when everything is set, then I can now use the force that I usually use to go for the things I want. But right now, I'm just putting down any ideas I get, I put it down, I pen it down. I'm also working on a mentorship program that will be for about 8 weeks for people who are interested, but I'm still sorting out the modalities. I want the courses to be ready before I launch so that I'm not running helter-skelter. I know I'm set, I'm relaxed. Every week we meet and we talk. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm still planning. This Ashobi matter, honestly, I should have never done Ashobi. It has finished and everybody is disturbing me as if they don't have Ashobi. I'm like, man, last year there was COVID and we didn't have parties. We were all home. People died last year. People got married and yet there was no drama. But suddenly because government is allowing us to do some kind of festivities and now that's if I don't see as if the love was going to come to an end.
They love mommy.
I appreciate that, but there are rules. I mean, there's COVID. We have to be very careful. So we're managing the numbers.
I like your outfit.
People are, it's something couture, cotton couture. Yes, thank you.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. Thank you. Cotton couture got this for me. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think so.
Okay. You have to check. We'll come back. You say it properly.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the nation. Minister, government will borrow to fund 6.2 trillion naira budget deficit. House seeks review of judges' salaries. Showdown likely at PDP NEC meeting over zoning. Government abducts 4 farmers in Ekiti. 10 die in Kwara Road accident. Petrol landing costs hits 264 naira per litre. State of emergency likely in Anambra. And Sanwo-Olu ex-governors eulogized in the Busi Kano. Okay.
Major headline.
Major headline.
So just as I announced yesterday, we have a budget which is about 16.39 trillion. But the Minister for Finance said we'll be borrowing because we have a deficit of about 6.258 trillion naira, and these borrowings will be divided. Okay, she said we'll be borrowing about 5-point-something trillion to cover the deficit of 6.2 trillion. And 2.5 trillion of that is domestic borrowing, and another 2.5 is foreign borrowing. This will raise our debt stock to about 40 trillion naira. Again, we hope that we have our pay.
Okay, so the key assumptions that I think they're hoping to get is oil price benchmark will be 57 per barrel, right? Oil production, they're hoping that to do 1.8 million barrels per day. The exchange rate we are skipping to 410, and the oil revenue they're expecting is 3.15 trillion. They're saying that the expected revenue generally, however, is 10.13 trillion naira out of the 16 that they are hoping to budget.
With VAT already in court, and we're still projecting our expected revenue to be 10 when we know what that
anyways, let's take another story.
Yeah, so members of Organized Labour, Ogun State Chapter, NLC, they came out yesterday in their numbers and blocked the Songo-Ota road. Yes, road. They are complaining and decrying the state of the road and how it's affecting, everything, the economic impact on businesses. And this has been ongoing for so many years. They say, yes, they remember when the minister, Fashola, came and talked about, a timeline and working on it. But he said it was inherited project, but they're still working on it. So they're giving them like an ultimatum. We need you to be done with this road, or else, they said, they will wreak havoc.
Wow. So the police in Ekiti yesterday said government attacked and abducted 2 persons in a raid on Elase Ekiti East Council of the state. So locals said they just came in at about 1:30 a.m. in the night and ransacked houses, shooting sporadically into the air. A lot of the villagers ran out and ran into the bush as a result of the shooting. And so they took 3 persons, including a young girl. But the police is saying now that 1 person has been recovered. And during the shootout they had with the police, the government had with the police, 1 of them died. So investigations are ongoing. Also in Kwara State, an accident happened between a tanker, a fuel tanker, and a Volkswagen, and about 10 persons died. And it was as a result of overtaking of, I think, the tanker.
Good news for our judges. Hopefully their salaries will be reviewed. It's being looked at the House Committee on Judiciary in the House, and they're saying that the judges' salary, they've expressed concern about the meager salary that they're constantly on, and they're asking for a proper review. So we don't know what the numbers are looking at now, but at least it's on the table for review. Moving on to the Punch, high budget deficit, don't harm our future. Experts warn government, and FG plans more loans. 2 Randy Ekiti men remanded for scaling fence and raping 16-year-old in mother's room. Can reconstitute prayer panel against killings and kidnappings and others. Lagos Abeokuta Highway protesters threaten to ground Ogun and issue 21-day ultimatum. IBEDC, that's I think it's Ibadan.
Ibadan Disco.
Disco throws communities into darkness. Residents scare officials with sacrifice. Female ex-NIS officer arrested for scamming job seekers, collecting 34 million naira. 500 Nigerians lose their jobs at OAE declines renewal of work visas. And Anambra Killings PDP alleges rigging plot. Obiano kicks as FG Mall's emergency rule. Okay, Mr. we're taking
So residents of Magboro, Makogi, Okeafa, Ibafo, and Urimerimu in the Obafemi Owode local government. I tried. Local government area of Ogun State have been thrown into darkness by the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company. That's the IBEDC. Yeah, so according to the story, they said there's this isolator switch where they power the community. When they take it up, it powers them. When they bring it down, it takes out. Yeah, so they know the place. And then, according to the story, somebody went there, whoever it was, and placed sacrifice after the thing was on and changed that area so nobody could have access to put it down. So when the Ibadan Disco went there, they were not able to bring power out. They had to go to, I think, one Okaro, the main place, and switched off the power. So the whole community, extending to other communities around that area, were in total darkness. And so they've been talking about it. The Ibadan Disco is saying that they need to fish out the people who placed that sacrifice there because they can't have access to that place until they remove that sacrifice. They won't have power. The community members are complaining that they've been shortchanged. Most of them don't have the prepaid meter. They bring indiscriminate charges to them, and they are not the ones that they are suspecting is even the Ibadan Disco that placed the sacrifice there because they don't want to give them power. So it's been back and forth.
They've been in darkness for so long. When they finally do bring the lights, it's low current.
Wow. So, UAE actually, I think they withdrew visas. I think they refused to renew visas for Nigerians living in the UAE.
Okay.
And about over 500 of them, most of them actually have come back to Nigeria. But some of them are still stranded there, hoping that there can be a reversal of the policy. So they have refused to renew the direct employment visa for Nigerians in the UAE. And I think this was said at the UAE ambassadors meeting with Honorable Abikada Birewa at the commission yesterday, stressing that the UAE has no restrictions against any nationality, but there's no news on if that will be reversed. But they're saying that these Nigerians that are stranded, hopefully they can either get a new job, because according to them, some were earning 40,000 naira per month in Nigeria, and when they came to UAE, they earned about 500,000 naira per month. So they don't want to leave.
Of course, makes sense.
Would you want to leave?
Yeah. So
there's this lady, a 42-year-old lady, Hajara Egbunu. She's been described as a former employee of the Nigerian Immigration Service based in Abuja. She was arrested because she was found to be involved in a scam where she would tell her victims that they would earn 3 million naira a month for working with ECOWAS, and she would get them these jobs. And they pay her 3 million, and she gives them an employment letter. But then the victims realized over time that they were fake letters. So the police had arrested someone else, her accomplice, who said, well, he was a victim at first, and then eventually started getting her other clients. So she's been arrested and arraigned. Both of them have been arraigned. They say she's made about over 34 million naira from this scam.
What's the human interest story?
I do. This young girl, whose name wasn't mentioned in the report, thankfully, was raped by one Olamide Ebenezer, a 24-year-old, and Kolade Oladipo, a 31-year-old. According to her, they scaled the fence of her house into her property while her mother was away and raped her. And she made this report. They've been detained, and they would be
arraigned. But when these things happen, do we ever hear whatever happens to them? Do they just throw these guys in jail?
No,
I think we
no,
need
they
to
successfully
follow
prosecute.
Yeah.
They successfully prosecute a lot. This one happened in Adequate, but they do prosecute.
Okay, I know Ekiti doesn't even play with these things anyway. Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we continue with the reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're moving on to Daily Sun. FG threatens state of emergency in Anambra. Other groups may emerge to counter IPOB in Southeast, says Umahi. Reprieve for patients as doctors resume work. Lagos names housing estate after late in the Buisi Kano. Benin Agog as remains of Captain Hoza arrive. World Bank projects Nigeria's growth for 2022 to 2023 at below 4%. Okay, which story are we taking?
Yesterday was the day of tribute for late the ex-military administrator for Lagos State, late Ndubisi Kanu, and the Lagos State governor decided to name the Babada housing estate after him to remember him, and talked about, a lot of people talked about him, how he was a strong member of NADECO at the time, and he's so rest.
Yeah, I wanted to take the National Association of Resident Doctors. So finally, yesterday, they resumed work after 2 months of industrial action. And they ordered their members to down tools for a bit, which is about 6 weeks as they await further action from the federal government concerning their demands. Investigations have shown that states like Kano, KB, Zamfara hospitals are opened, and the doctors are attending to patients who are so happy to, be attended to. And it's also a great relief for the consultants who were basically overwhelmed. I just hope that these 6 weeks that they are giving to the federal government to continue negotiations, that something happens so that we don't hear that after 6 weeks they are going on another strike. The federal government should meet these people halfway and give them what they want. Okay,
I was going to talk about IBOB. So the governor was saying, of the Ebonyi State, was saying that there are various groups, such as the MASOB, which can counter IPOB if they don't stop this violence. According to them, he's alleging that some criminal elements have infuriated IPOB and trying to ground the southeast. And if IPOB doesn't take hold and try to get some kind of redress to this, other groups within the southeast would have to counter their own efforts. Pretty much that's what the article was saying. Okay, many other reports. Okay, moving on now to Daily Trust. FG Mall state of emergency in Anambra. Mixed reactions as NCC gets 18 years age limits for SIM ownership and others in draft regulation. Nigeria others to benefit as Google invests 410 billion naira in Africa's digital transformation. Biafra agitation madness, counter groups likely, says Umahi. Scores killed, houses burnt as gunmen attacks Zamfara village. 37 days after Buhari yet to appoint new ministers from Kano and Taraba. Okay, which story are we taking Daily Trust?
Good news. Google is looking to invest $1 billion in Africa, and the countries that are to benefit: Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. So we thank God, say join us. He says this 410 billion naira would include the landing of a subsea cable, which will enable faster internet at cheaper rates. So. And it's projecting that this would, of course, create new jobs, technological-wise, and all of that. It's good.
That's awesome.
We have hopes.
Okay. Yeah. Remember us.
I will tap into it.
Yeah. Samfara State.
It's not that we should have the Nigerian version. Why do we want Google?
How for do now?
Until it comes now.
But
another killing in Zamfara State on Tuesday. They said scores of killings happened. Residents said about 10 p.m. these bandits or assailants came into their community and they killed about some people. There are different numbers. Some people said that 13 houses were razed, 16 vehicles were burned, and a number of people were killed. They also looted foodstuff and animal. The state police commander, Zamfara State Police Command, has said that it has dispatched its personnel into the community. And this community is also one of the places that have been affected by the telecom shutdown, that has been on for about a month now.
Well, so
major headline.
Yeah, the federal government has threatened to declare a state of emergency in Anambra State ahead of the November 6th governorship election if the security situation did not improve. So the government, according to them, is saying that they have the responsibility to sustain democratic order and ensure election is held and also protect lives and properties. And so there's no possibility that is ruled out. If that doesn't work, they would have to resort to declaring that state of emergency. However, Afenifere, Middle Belt Forum, Christian Association of Nigeria, Arewa, Pandef are cautioning the federal government against taking such action. They said that is unacceptable, is unconstitutional, and they should even define what exactly they are declaring a state of emergency for. That if it's about insecurity, what they can do is to postpone the elections and ensure that everything is sorted, because you can't even have a free and fair election with heavy military presence. Other people are saying this smacks of a hidden agenda, because if you compare what is happening in the southeast to what is happening in the north, till today, that area has not been declared a state of emergency. So what are we talking about? It's just been, talks here and there, and that is not ripe for such action.
Okay, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Lawyers of Fenifere Ohaneze PDP question for urgent threat of state of emergency in Anambra. We just talked about that. Lassa fever killed 725 in 5 years. WHO approves first malaria vaccine. Over 14.3 Nigerians abuse drugs, says NDLEA boss. PDP zoning issues that may shape NEC meeting today. We will borrow more to finance the 6.258 trillion naira 2022.
Why did you say it like that?
Emphasis on the borrow.
Unity Forum kicks over zoning committee for your APC Congress. Yes, NDLEA.
Yes, NDLEA. They are saying that, first of all, the boss of NDLEA was the one talking on Wednesday, and he says that 14.3 million Nigerians abuse drugs and other substances, and that one of the most abused one is cannabis. And of course, he gave the age range, which we've heard many times before, from 15 years to 64 years, and that we have about 10.6 million Nigerians that abuse just cannabis. And right now, we are #1 in the abuse of cannabis in the world. And he says that where we have the highest numbers of these drug abusers are in the south, especially the southwest, the Lagos or your axis. And 1 in 5 persons already.
The epicenter.
Yes, the epicenter. And he's also saying that 1 out of 5 persons suffering from one or the other drug abuse disorder.
You know, I was at the event, I moderated that event, and it was quite, the information there is so weighty and painful that I left that place almost depressed. Yes, they're doing a lot of work because they are catching some of these drug barons, but the truth is that they're getting more and more very innovative in how they're doing. They actually order online, and you don't know. So we're going to, as I said before, we're going to have to bring them, because we have to spend a whole day to break down this issue of drug abuse, how it's being used, the various models that they're using, how they're selling it, and how they're even hiding it. But there's one that has everything. Has heroin, has cocaine inside it, together, has codeine, everything in that thing.
It's not for them not doing enough to catch. We hear the news every day. But the reality of the drug abuse is right in our faces. For me that drive long distances, I see people rap it. I was unfortunate at the TBS to be standing, and the boys were rapping. I was calling the person backing me. I didn't know he was selling. I was shocked at the TBS gate. So they need to start to focus on how to stop people from patronizing, people from using. So let's focus on minds.
As I said, it's a whole day topic. It's not about trafficking. They're using kids now, minors, for trafficking. They're the ones selling. So it's a whole day topic. We'll find a day to do it.
So the World Health Organization Wednesday approved the widespread of the RTS malaria vaccine to prevent malaria among children in the sub-Saharan Africa
that's
and
problem
in
solving.
other, I'm telling you, other regions with moderate to, I don't understand.
No, I'm just into
So finally, we have this vaccine, and he said it was made from GlaxoSmithKline, which is approved for use in children as young as 5 months old, and it is going to be in 4 doses. So they tested before the vaccine came out. It was after a period of a 2-year clinical trial, and they had a study of 800,000 individuals from Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi. They didn't use us in Nigeria. So now that we have the vaccine, we're not guinea pigs, but we can buy that.
Will you be shocked to find in Nigeria on the panel of those who made this?
No, I won't be shocked. Of course, I won't be shocked. But I will be shocked if there are no Nigerians
on it.
They didn't use us. So hopefully now we have that.
Hopefully, so they won't be taking my children to go and do my malaria test.
We need to be sure that it's already in Nigeria. We can't just, you want to order from Malawi.
They should start from Nigeria. This is the epicenter of malaria.
No. They've given to over 2.3 million people in other countries.
Okay, can we move on to another topic?
Please go ahead.
You didn't take Lassa fever today. It wasn't doing you. Okay.
NDLEA was
I mentioned it yesterday. I said, Mariam has made a point of duty to take every NDLEA step.
I'm telling you.
I mentioned it yesterday at that event. Okay, Vanguard. Anambra polls. Oprah as FG threatens emergency rule. I think we've taken that story several times. Let's find a story we've not taken. Lagos or your axis, epicenter of drug abuse. We just talked about that. Senate passes revised MTEF cuts 2022 budget by 60 billion. Counter-secessionist groups will rise in Southeast, says Umahi. We took this story too. Unilag, why Pro-Chancellor Babalakin quit, says federal government. How CBN saved economy from post-COVID crisis is a mere failure. And this was at Seplat's pre-summit dinner. Pictures of lots of their officials here. COVID-19 impact pushing 1 in 6 Nigerian youths into depression, says UNICEF. And we'll borrow more to finance the budget. We talked about that. And Ndubuisi Kanu was a great nationalist, says Ukwe and Tinubu, others. Ukiwe. Yes, Ukiwe. Okay, let's take another story there in Vanguard. Which story we take?
Okay, COVID-19 and its impact on the mental health of young Nigerians, especially our children. And it says that COVID-19 pandemic on children's mental health in Nigeria is rising, and 1 in 6 young adults aged between 15 and 24 is currently experiencing depression. And a lot of it has to do with, the lockdown, the pandemic itself, and the economic effect on either parents. People have lost parents, people have lost jobs. Children are afraid because they realize that there's a loss of income in their home. Because of the lockdown, they haven't had that time to, mingle with friends, be in school. And they also, so in Nigeria, our children miss each other.
But we have found a way to be mingling.
No, maybe we should listen to the children. Anyway, this is a report. This was based on a survey. And it's saying that even apart from the pandemic, mental health is really an issue amongst children. And that there's a huge disparity between mental health needs and the funding. It says globally, so not just in Nigeria, we pay very little percentage of our budget towards mental health, and I guess it's just put our eyes.
We grow.
So mental health is a priority.
It goes
hand in hand with this drug abuse and things like that.
Yes, correct. Very linked.
There was a psychiatrist there yesterday that said same
very
thing.
linked.
Okay, I'll find out people on your Telegram. I'm not sure we can take any story. Let's find out that SIM took SIM.
Yes, so yesterday we talked about the SIM issue. Nigerian Communications Commission, that's the NCC, are saying that the proposed 18 years minimum age regulation for SIM acquisition, and they listed the reason. It says aimed at protecting minors in the country, and it's also in accordance with the Nigerian Constitution, which recognizes 18 as the age for contractual relationship. And that means that before you get into such a contract, you have to have a legal status, you have to be matured enough to be able to handle certain responsibilities, certain obligations and liabilities imposed by a contract. And it will also strengthen the national security and protect the children. However, consultations are still ongoing, and they will be taking in reviews from stakeholders that matter on the issue. Telecom operators are pleading with them and saying, leave it for 14 to 15 years.
Why?
Okay,
why are they pleading with them?
let's go on a
They are
break.
the regulators.
When we return, it's Thursday. We discuss family, life, relationship issues. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, we found a story that we thought was quite interesting. And because we are our sisters' keepers, we hear these stories and we say, okay, what can we do? How do we help this person? How do we analyze and see if we can, share some insights to help this person? So a story caught our attention about a lady whose sister had passed during delivery and she took over the child. So moving forward at age 39, she found somebody who wanted to marry her. But the condition the man gave her was that this child that you are carrying, I know the story. You have to give this child up. Maybe, first of all, they asked her to stop the child from going to a private school. I guess maybe in the bid to save funds for their marriage or whatever. So then the man is asking her to give up the child either for adoption or to be like a maid. I think the child is about 8 years old.
Yeah.
To make a
Send
maid.
her off as a maid.
And she is 39 and she's going to be 39 in January. And she's thinking to herself, like, listen, I'm not getting any younger. This is a man who is a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. He loves her. And she wants to settle down with this guy. And she doesn't want this guy to leave. So she's thinking, hey, what do I do? I love my niece. I mean, I'm the one be taking care of her since birth. Yet I also want to get married. And this man doesn't seem to want to accommodate. And I mean, there's no other family member around that can take this child. So the options are give her up for adoption or give her somebody else as a maid. So those are the options that she's looking at. But the story caught our attention because, listen, there are lots of people in this situation where you are left with a loved one. I know somebody actually did call me, and she's probably watching because I know she called me, said, either her sister, some of the family members, somebody died. I think left about 3 children. Her husband and her agreed to accommodate those children, but after some time, she's like, Mariel, your view? Is there anywhere? What can I do? What are the options I have? Because she's now burdened with her own family, with these additional members of the family. So they mean well, but the economy today is
so
not.
much.
That's been stretched with finances and all that. So that's where this girl is, where finances are there, and she wants to get married and settle down. So how do we advise this person? Now, you can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. Okay, Bisi, let me start with you.
Okay. For me, I usually advise people, if you ever have, I know life happens, but if you ever have the intention of getting married, it's advisable that you start searching early. Because at the time where you're not desperate, you can really look and see some red flags that would just say, no, this person is not the right person for me. This man has obviously shown a lot of red flags. One of them is selfishness. So you think he loves you today, but he doesn't want this child. This child is going to be like an extra burden. Please, I can't have this child. He tells you, you are spending so much on this child. You are buying clothes too expensive for this. He's already telling you that, please, I don't want any other person in my space. And today, you think he loves you. Understand that love is not enough. If you cannot show love to the next person around him, when he falls out of love with you, he's going to treat you bad. Secondly, he's not accommodating. Love is about being able to, there's something my teacher used to say in secondary school, say, if you love me, you love my dog. So you won't love me and come to my space and tell me to kill my dog because you just want me. So love is accommodating. There are certain signs you look out for. How do you accommodate other people? Aside from me, see, when the love is sweeting you, you won't see all these things. That's one. You will just pay attention to how he makes you feel, how he treats you. But if you're observant, you understand how he treats even people he feels he cannot benefit from. That will tell you. Another one is, for me, the person is controlling. He's already telling you, I don't want this or this won't work. I don't want that. And see, ask yourself, is this where you want to go in the nearest future? I understand that you want to make decisions for yourself. You need love. You're going to be 39. And it would be unfair for me to tell you, don't get into a relationship and take care of your sister's daughter. But also, how do you want this relationship to be in a few years down the line when all the chips are down and the love has reduced? Because love is undulating. It will reduce. How would he begin to treat you after love reduces? This is just a test that God is opening your eyes to see.
So, we've been married for a while, all of us here. And we in marriage, we realize that men are not perfect.
Nobody is.
There are flaws. So all these red flags that you're afraid, we always do red flags. So all of us will overlook these red flags. So do you think that there are some red flags that, yes, he's selfish, but there are some that should, as the age she is in right now, is she not willing to compromise?
Good. So that's where I was going to. So for me, I actually feel sorry for her because this is a person who is desperate. Yeah. So she's put a timeline for herself and says, I'm 39 and I'm still not married. And finally, I found this person who is willing to marry me. And even though he's giving me so many conditions, it does not matter, because by 39, I would know that I'm married. I would not be called unmarried. And for me, that's what is driving everything that she said. And that's what's driving even the fact that she's considering getting married to this person. And really, it's a tough thing to find yourself trying to make a decision when you're in that state of mind. And people that you're in a relationship with can sense it. They understand that you're desperate. So they take advantage of that. They know you're vulnerable. So at that time, they can tell you all the things. Yes, make all the demands, because they know that you would break and you would try to meet those demands. But for me, I definitely see a very selfish person. You know, there's a mistake also will make it seem that, oh, maybe because it's not her real mother, it's her auntie. It's not about their relationship. It's just the fact that she's desperate, because we know of mothers who have hidden their own biological children so they can go ahead and get married to somebody. So it's important that women understand that their happiness is mainly theirs, and that they can determine, and they also can put on the table what is important to them. And if a man doesn't meet those demands, until you can you will still be happy if you don't get married to that man. You will still find your happiness. And what you have done so far for that child, you have done a fantastic job. Well done. Kudos to you. Do not allow your desperation for just marriage. I mean, you have so many successes. You have a lucrative business. You've raised the child. You know, you're so good. Even his family, as selfish as this man is, his family recognize that about you. You are the price. Do you understand? And that child, yes, and that child is your child. And if you cannot love that child and love you at the same time, then he's not for you.
He's not ready.
Yeah.
Nima.
Okay, so like Maria said, we all deal with our men with their flaws, but this one, they need a deal. This is a man who's never going to have pity for her. He's never, ever going to put her interest first. If you can look at the interest of the person who will become displaced, orphan, and even give terrible options as to give her up for maid or give her up at all, when you are only relative and you're the one she's used to. And I wonder for the woman herself, where's your mother instinct? Because it doesn't have to be your own child. The child that you have nurtured from birth, you can give up because of somebody. So two of them are people to me that need help. Just as Miriam said, I had the experience of a family friend who hid, because of 3 children, hid her status from someone she wanted to marry. I wondered then whether it made sense, but I sounded selfish. And I was saying to everybody, why didn't she tell him? Why are they with her mother? Why is she claiming that her mother's late sister's children? And then she got married, had 3 other children for the man, and then the man left. So she had 6 children.
No, she has to hide 6 for the
Yes,
next
so if you want to now marry again,
you go hide
6. Do you understand? So, see, you make life happen the way where you are. She's 39, yes. She's not married, but she can never lack the love of a child.
Forever.
Yes. Never. That love that she already has guaranteed, she wants to give up for the one that she's not certain about.
I like that.
The one that the one that one itself, this one we can say here. Don't be say it can change. It can never come in no day. No day.
Let me pause. That's a big stuff. Let's go to a break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this matter. So we've discussed the story. But now I want us to take it to reality of when people are faced with this challenge. The truth is that a woman, you have responsibility, not just maybe somebody's child, but your siblings sometimes. You know, you are the what they call it, the breadwinner of the family. You're the first girl. You're successful. You know, you have a lot of money. You're taking care of your siblings, and then your parents are passed, and they're in your custody, and then there's a man in your life, and he's wondering, oh, this is Bukata, right, waiting for us right here. You know, and you're thinking to yourself, how do I, you know, divorce myself from these responsibilities so I can start afresh? Because we also don't want to be selfish. We don't want her to feel nobody's thinking about her own feelings about this. She also wants to start about her own happiness, her own fulfillment. At the end of the day, she has her life to live. So, yes, she has responsibilities, but somebody should come to her aid. In other climes, there will be institutions to put this kind of person in. There will be, the system can absorb people like this. How do we systematically help people in this situation where they are taking on responsibilities that is not necessarily theirs?
Morayo, when it's the man that has those responsibilities, we don't come to him and tell him to divorce them. We don't come to him and tell him to, you don't even have the right. We don't even try, even if we have the right, we don't even try to say, you are the one taking care of your siblings, you are the first son, you have responsibilities, please, this one will just focus on this relationship and leave them. We don't. How dare you? You'll be called a wicked person, you will be called a witch, you'll be called all sorts of names. So why can't the men extend the same when it comes to the woman? Also, for me, we marry at the level of our self-esteem. So when I coach people who are getting into relationships, I always ask them, for you to attract somebody who would love you, you need to first of all learn to love yourself. Because if you do not love yourself, you are willing to compromise things that ordinarily you wouldn't want to compromise just because you want that person to love you. So there are some women who, after a certain age, a man just says hi, finally. So whatever the man says, drop your career, drop your this, drop your that, they're just doing it because they just want to go in. Finally, somebody has looked at me. A woman who understands self-worth, who has self-respect to say, I love you and I know you love me, but you can't tell me to take out pieces of me just to fit into this relationship. You find a way to love me with everything, my entire package. So we need to start working on ourselves. And also, Miriam hinted on it, but I want to highlight it a bit more. Happiness is self-defined. Let's not, society has really messed us up that if at a certain age you are not married, hey, how would they look at me? Even the people on the bike men will not respect you without a ring. Have you, when I used to enter bikes, I used to get that a lot, yes. They will look at my ring before they know whether to answer me ma or my friend enter the bike. You know, it's the society. So that mindset of you don't have a covering, who be this one? Any man can talk to you anyhow. Anybody can do with you anyhow they want. It's been ingrained in our society. So we as young people who are educating others need to understand that you are a whole person. You are embodied with love. Right. It's not about your successes. It's not about your failures. It's about who you are as a person. And when you can relate to yourself as I am whole, with or without marriage, it will be easier to attract the right person.
Dr. Moyo, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm lying with every other person except Atimorari. See, you have to, I mean, you cannot choose a man that chooses his convenience and comfort above you. You will always be secondary. Yeah. And I have some friends that are married, but they're not different from single women. Everything they do in that marriage, they are doing it alone. They are just married on paper and drink, but they are not different from spinsters. So you have to choose it because there are stages in marriage. The pregnancy stage, post-depression, what do they call it? A woman that gets depressed after giving birth. You will go through all these stages, and the man is not ready to be found, and he says, well, I cannot be here, Jared. My comfort is more important than being with you. He will always put you secondary. Yeah. Every other thing will be secondary to him. Your feelings will be irrelevant. Everything you do will not matter. So you have to choose a man that chooses you first.
Oh, I like that, Dr. Moyo.
Those times will come. Those uncomfortable situations will come. My parents' marriage is a perfect example. My father will leave work to come and attend to my mom when she's sick. Can that man do that for you? Those are the kind of things you should choose. Somebody that, and if you force yourself, he will definitely not love that child that you love.
At all. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Moyo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moyo.
So I don't know if I should respond, go over what you said. Okay. You know, I wanted, you know, this person also described this man as a nice man. And I wondered if she understood what a nice person is. You know, and then that's one. And secondly, she said that this relationship had endured for a while, unlike all the other relationships where they you know, they stayed for about 2 to 3 months. So now it's bringing to, for me, I'm thinking maybe there's something with her sense of judgment, especially when it comes to relationships with men. Already she's a fantastic business person. She understands how to give care and love to, you know, a child. But, you know, some people can be successful in everything except when it comes to this sort of relationships, man and woman relationships. And I have even seen people, even in, you know, personally, that I know that they are so smart and everything, but once they find themselves in a relationship with a man or a man is asking them out, they change everything, all their principles, everything that they think is important to them. They are willing to just drop it to please someone that's in their life. So for someone like that, I'll also advise like a dating coach, because we really need it. I remember one time, someone who was a colleague, and I asked her, like, what are you looking for in a man? She said, he must be Catholic. He must be, she said, the tribe. He must be, that was like, how about, you know, I was waiting for, they came at the bottom. So for her, so I asked her, I said, if the person is not Catholic, but he's nice and everything, but he's Pentecostal, he's Anglican. She was like, no. So someone has those sort of list. it's important that that person fits the mold. And for some of them, if that religious mold is filled, nothing else is important. If that, thing that we all know as married women, that those things don't matter. For them, if they see, if he's not tall and handsome and dark, then it does not matter. Or if he is, everything else that is a negative doesn't matter.
And
so I think that this is someone that needs to understand who a nice person is, what a partner is supposed to bring to the table, what he's supposed to give you, and what is expected for him to take from you.
I'll take this call because there's an angle we've not talked about, is the man in this situation, where you're meeting a woman who has responsibilities. How do you approach that kind of a person? What kind of help do we expect from a man like that? Because, you see, we have these white dresses, innocence, we're getting married, as if we're just two lovebirds, like we're just starting afresh. But it's not really starting afresh. There's a lot of baggage around. So a lot of men and women want to start afresh. But how do they handle the baggage? How does the man coming in handle the extra weight? How does she manage the extra weight? I'll answer that question. Let me take this call from Innocence, I believe. Are you there? Innocence. Oh, Abiodun, I'm sorry. Abiodun, go on, you're live.
I think I lost it. No, it's there.
Hello, Abiodun, are you there? He's listening to the TV. Okay, yes. So how do we manage as a man coming into that kind of relationship?
I was going to go straight to the men now. When you see a woman who has what you call baggage, either in younger ones without parents, or even parents, aged parents that she's taking care of, or even a child, like in the case in study that we have, you see somebody who is responsible, someone who doesn't leave their problems to others, someone who don't sit, you can even study how they will deal with life issues. That's a partner that you can predict for men. And for men, it's like, I don't know why people don't understand that life is about service. So I know someone who would not take this kind of responsibilities, younger ones, my sister's niece, my brother's child. I don't want people in my house. Fast forward, she's in her 50s. She's sick. And then the husband who would not support her to take those people makes a phone call to the same brother's children, sister's children, and starts to blame them that they are irresponsible children from his wife's family. All of you, your auntie is not feeling fine, and you have never been there for her. You're not responsible. And then I got the gist. I was like, can somebody then remind him? They say, you don't need to remind him. Because if you see, your life can be selfish. Everybody else can be selfish. That's why we're communal as Africans. You can have somebody inside a family, a big family compound, inherit 10 children. I heard stories of my great-grandmothers, how they used to start the lineage from one person. Once one person that she has the children. Once one person that she has the children.
That's reality today.
But no, but that was, we made it work. Women married into families, had their own children, took their husband's children, and made it work. We now became Olaju, and we said, no, we can't do this. I can't stand them. You just have a trade for them, as if it won't work. When you sit with that thing that you call a problem that you're about to push away, if you give it a chance, it works for you. It's the same thing for women who don't want their mothers-in-laws and fathers-in-laws within their space. Eventually, when they are there, they relieve you from the problem of having to put a CCTV to watch anybody. Because they're with their grandchildren. And then the history and family, whatever, is transferred. We live that life, and it's possible.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've been talking about extra weight or extra baggage, you want to call it, in marriage, where you want to start a fresh life, but there's so many things that you're doing that is impeding your growth in a new, or your movement into a new phase. And we also looked at it from the men's perspective, knowing that you want to start afresh with a woman, and yet you love her so much, and she has responsibilities, and you're thinking to yourself, yes, I love you, I'm just not ready yet to have and accommodate all these excesses. Can you judge a man for that? For saying, can you blame him for saying, I just can't accommodate this extra. I just want you, Mariam.
Yeah. So, CM, first of all, I think traditionally Africans and Nigerians bringing that extra baggage of siblings, family members is not something we frowned upon. This was, as time changes, this modern stance of this is a baggage. I don't think I can handle it. And really it's because of how nuclear we had now become. Before you bring your family and my family and we're all in the same one compound, we eat from the same tray, we're cooking all in the same kitchen. But we've become much more nuclear. Now our resources has to be able to pay for the people that we have in our house. We go to work, we calculate how much we're spending. So that's why it's important to have that conversation, because we have had times where people felt like they are being scammed. I thought we were earning this amount of money, and this amount of money is supposed to be going into the house. Where has it gone to? Oh, I had to give my mom, I had to give my sister, I had to give my sister. Or people will say, I got married to this man and we're doing fine. All of a sudden, I just realized he's not doing much in the house anymore. And the excuse is that he's giving it to his family. Now, that's why it's a problem. When there's no full disclosure, you do not let the person understand that there are responsibilities. But there are people that have come into this relationship understanding that there will be responsibilities. And so, financially, it's either they do not depend on you, they're figuring themselves out as well, or they expect that there's a percentage that would come from you. Also, people like that tend to also have a much more defined, like, items that this is mine and this is yours.
This is what I do.
Good. This is what I do in the house. And this is because they understand that there are other things that you bring with you. In Africa and Nigeria, we believe that our family members are sort of also assets. Because in the future, you just don't know what will happen. They may be the ones that can step in for you and help the situation because you have helped them.
So in a situation whereby, in this case study we're looking at, if that man was financially buoyant, for example, he may not consider what he's considering if he's actually well able to handle the things. Yeah. But obviously, it seems like she's the one that is doing well. So he's also saying, like, well, this is your money that's
that's what her own is selfish. That's why this one seems selfish. Because this is not a woman depending on you. This is a woman that says, I have my business, I'm taking care of this guy, I can get her the best schools, I'm buying her the best clothes.
That's the reason why he shouldn't even complain in the first place.
But okay, let me take a call from Play 2. Good morning, are you there? Hello?
I want to commend your efforts there. Sincerely, all was well spoken, and I like the objective view of how you view it.
Thank you.
Irrespective of the gender basis. In as much as a woman desires to be happy in her marriage, true happiness does not only depend on you alone. If you are happy in a marriage and your family sometimes are not happy, they are equally not happy and you will not be happy. I understand the desperation that my sister desires to settle. I know she is looking at age-wise, and I know, like you rightly said, society, the nomenclature that we Nigerians, when a lady reaches a certain stage, she is not married and she is doing a business, we tend to label them negatively sometimes. Yes, but I want to say that look at the years you have been with this girl. I know this girl has a place in her heart. And truly, before meeting her, I don't know if she has told him or she's telling him maybe along the line, irrespective of she has already told him. He has seen this girl. And the responsibility on this girl is already on her. She is thinking of leaving this girl. Does she know what will happen tomorrow? Is she thinking of who will save even her children? Will this marriage is said it is a parcel. When you enter it or you collect the parcel, you unwrap it, there you will see many things.
Okay, so for, because some of us are communal in nature, does not automatically mean that everybody is and everybody should be. I think we should give people an opportunity to decide how they want to run their life. So if you get into a relationship and you see that this person has a lot of baggages and you don't want that sort of baggage in your space, it's very okay that you take a walk. You must not get into that relationship. But for you to go into that relationship and now start telling the other person to cut this out, don't do this for your brother, don't do this, I don't want anybody in my house and all of that, I think it's a manipulation and wickedness. You should be able to say, the kind of life I want to have, really, I don't think having a lot of people to take care of will help me grow as fast as I want. People don't pick their families. People don't pick where they are born into. You just happen to be the first child and everybody's relying on you. It's not your fault. So you would attract somebody who sees it that it's okay, we'll find our way. There's something I realize that Igbo people do wherever they find themselves. So if one person comes to the city, they will come with their siblings. They will start their business. And another thing is, the person you want to help, you should be sure that the person is diligent. The person is not lazy, just lying around the house and watching DSTV from morning till night and not doing anything. So they come with people, their siblings, these aunties, cousins, sisters, daughter, and all of that. And everybody's in the house. They manage their resources however they can manage, and they begin to pick up in their businesses and they grow. Tomorrow, one of them is doing something, and you see people coming and you're wondering, these are the people that this man has raised. Also, it doesn't work for everybody that way, because I have some family members who have tried to help their people, and it also brought them down. So you need to decide which side of the divide do I want to be. And if you want to be the type of person who is communal, it's okay. Anybody who does not want that relationship, you just take a walk and give you space to see somebody who would be like you.
Let me take this call. We'll call man from Abakaliki. Are you there?
Hello?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm just a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show. Abakaliki.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wow, for years, about 1 year, I'm trying to reach you, and I like the program.
Thank you.
Permit me to welcome Moray back and take my sympathy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For your mother's day.
Thank you.
And I miss the smile of the one that held breathe for you. And this is there. It's been a wonderful outing from that day.
Mrs. Smile of the one that held breathe for
let me
you.
tell you,
Okay.
I am a man. I am 60 years. And I know that if I were to remarry, I would say everything about marriage and all conditions that I want in it before getting married. This is where I want to congratulate that man for opening up and saying his mind. Otherwise, that issue will come up later in the marriage to spoil the marriage.
Oh, we wanted to hear Ukoma.
I like that.
Thank you very much. I do apologize about
Maura, I wanted to take choose, but let me quickly respond to that. So, opening up and speaking his mind, but not for a minor or an infant. The detriment of a minor, such a young person. So you can open up, speak your mind about relatives, maybe adults. Women do it. They come in and say, okay, I don't want this child. And some people don't give them. In Africa, they give you a moko. You are getting married, they are giving you one child that you will use to start. So really, it will be good that, you know, as men can speak their minds. Young women, even those days, can say, no, I don't want the omoko. I can do well on my own.
Give you messages?
But then we have plenty of messages. Isaac Bere Ogeneru says, the woman should involve the husband in helping her family so that the man and in turn will in turn be of help. This will increase the love and beauty of their home. It's a blessing in a way. Biliki says she's young, she could be adopted. Perhaps the man is wary of sharing his partner's attention. But you can imagine if she's their own child.
If she were abroad, what would she do? Or what would they have done?
And they have structure, where they have homes, they have a proper system. But even then, in foster homes, you can't guarantee the love. The love that I will give a child that is with me is what I can guarantee, not the one of the person that system is encouraging to adopt or take the child. Really, do you find people who can spread love no matter what?
I think the story personally for me, if it is not because she's so sick and unable to take care of her, I think it's I know that's a terrible, terrible decision to take because that child is your child. That child only knows you as the mother. To take your child and give your child out when you're young enough, strong enough, financially able, I mean, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
The man has the right to say whatever it is he wants to say, to make whatever demands he needs to make. The onus is on her because the decision, she has to make the decision. So I don't even blame that man for making his demands. It's on her that she's even considering it. That's the problem. She shouldn't even consider that.
Let me go on a quick break. We'll come back. Yeah, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on this matter. Let's take a few messages from online. Yes,
okay, so I have Christiana Chidalu says about the lady and her niece. My question to her and to myself is, what then is love then? What matters to me when what matters to me does not matter to you? If her niece doesn't matter to her, I think she has found a good opportunity to do away with her. But if she sincerely loves and cares for her as her own, it's better to have a serious conversation with the man on how much she matters to her and to strike an outstanding balance. If he chooses not to take responsibility of the little girl, no wahala, but he has to give way for her to continue caring for her niece.
Let me stay on that, BC. Yeah. So on the flip side, you're 40 years old and you choose your niece. Now, fast forward 10, 15 years. Would you live to regret it?
No, we're assuming that no other person comes along.
No, I'm just making that. So that's all, she's also assuming that if I lose this spec or if I lose this man,
we're also assuming that even with the man, that marriage will work. We've had marriages that crumble.
No, people don't. At that age, people don't really. Sometimes they don't really care about it. They want to be at least married somebody.
But even at that age, marriages crumble. You get into the house divorces happen. You get into the house and you find out that this person is not really somebody I can cope with. Right. When the love has subsided and your eye has cleared, you now realize that this man is selfish. He does not put me first. He does not pay attention to me. I'm the one handling everything. I'm sick. He's not paying attention. He's narcissistic and all of that. The real issues now begin to pop out, and you decide to up and leave. So let's not assume on a spectrum that because we took this step, this was supposed to be the outcome. Anything could have happened. So whatever actions you take, make peace with yourself. I have chosen to love this child. Whether a husband comes or not, I'm going to be happy with this child and hold on to what you have. That love may still come, and somebody who would appreciate that child. What if you not marry and you don't have a child?
Have you seen
another option?
Have you seen those videos?
Let me quickly take Fumi.
Okay.
Fumi, are you there? Hello, Fumi, are you there? Hello? Okay. Mariam,
have you seen those videos where a man has a child or a woman has a child and says we're a package, and the man asks of their hand in marriage or permission to be with this person, and it's such a beautiful event, you know. So sometimes she may not find that marriage, or that particular man may leave her. She may find someone so beautiful that fits in with her family, that loves the child, and they will live happily ever after, of course, with reality, you know. But the thing is, people who, it's just simply red flags. People who put those sort of demands on you, especially knowing that this is, if they don't understand the depth of a relationship between mother and child, if they don't understand the sacrifice it would take for someone to take a child that they have raised and give them aside, you don't want to be with that sort of person. That person is not a kind person. At all. The person is not saying, I don't think I can cope with the burden. I understand that you have this child, you've raised this child, but for me, I don't think I can cope with it. The person is saying, put the child, first of all, take the child out of school, of that particular school. Stop giving that child, dressing that child in expensive clothing, and then, you know, just find a place for the child. But in all this conversation, the woman that is considering to put that child away.
We need to check her.
This help. Let me take, wait, hold on. Let me take this call. Hello, are you there? Chudi, are you there? Chudi?
Yeah.
You're live.
Good morning, Mariah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to commiserate with you, first of all.
Thank you, sir.
On the death of your mom. It's one of those things, some of us have gone through that. we pray that she rests in peace.
Amen.
She has done, she has played her part and she has taken a vow. Yeah, on the issue of, you know, women will always go into a relationship with bags and baggages.
Men, uncle.
And also some men will also come into a relationship with bags and baggages. For me, I will have problem with that, but if such thing is going to take place, we need to sit down and agree, decide from the very beginning, have an issue. Not when, as you're coming in with loads. I prefer a situation in which if we are in that relationship and something comes up, fine and good. I know I will assist. The man knows he's supposed to assist. And nobody's arguing that, but the one I am against is coming into a relationship with bags and baggages, loads, problems already on the ground. I think even if I love you or you love me, that shouldn't come in now, because you are coming in with extra, something that happened outside the relationship. So people should first of all sit down, agree what you want is not what I want.
Judy,
what Nima would like is
Judy,
not
let me
what
stay
another person would like.
Judy, let me stay with you for a second, because, so you're right, full disclosure. Let us know, and you're saying that I don't want to start with baggage, but what would you suggest she does with this, she would do with this little girl? What would you suggest would be the right approach for this little girl?
Okay. My approach is that if a little girl is involved, yes, fine, good. I wouldn't want the woman to send her away. She should try as much as she can to accommodate her, because nobody knows tomorrow. You don't know who is the next president or who is the next minister, or who is somebody that can build you out. Just look unto God and do the right thing for that child. If the child is there or has you needs help from maybe your sister's son, your sister's daughter, I am not against that, but let us sit down and discuss it and agree on what to do.
Thank you, Judy.
Let me take comments on this. Cole Williams says, look, this matter is personal. This is what wrecked my father, taking on too much responsibility. As a man with sense, your first responsibility is your immediate nuclear family. This is her own nuclear family. He says any other thing should be secondary. If you're a man with sense, so it is my view that Nigerians are inherently ungrateful. No matter what you do for them, sacrifice, you end up being the enemy.
So you now truncate another child.
I like to go there.
Because Nigerians are ungrateful. You now truncate an 8-year-old destiny.
That 8-year-old might then grow up to be an ungrateful person. That's what he's saying.
No, that's so. You're not doing it because of what you see. You don't expect to reap where you sowed. Just sow. Just be the good person and sow. Just be good to everybody. Not being good to Nima because tomorrow Nima will do it back to me. That's not why. So as a human being, this is a child we're talking about. It's not like the girl is already 19 years old and looking for a place to stay. This is a child.
All you need to
she can get to a certain age and she finds something good and decides to leave. This is a child. Come on.
It's love. It's not financial, all those things we are thinking. The person you love, within what you can afford, give the person the best that you can. Within what you can afford, even if it is the public school, you say it's government owned because your own are going to private, but you love that child. A grateful heart is a grateful heart.
It's a grateful heart.
I know people who just know how to love, and in your old age, you get a companion. Someone who would never say, who would say, no, I can't leave this person. I just, must be there for them.
But even there are families that I know of that they did that public school thing. They had their own children, took them abroad. Their children, the children of the other sibling came to school in Nigeria, and as they grew older, they felt that they weren't kind to us.
That is where I wanted us to go. Let's expand this conversation to include when it's not a child, not maybe a child that you're asking. We're talking about siblings, or we're talking about relatives, cousins who have now come to your house. Because you are, let's say, you're a person of means, but you're the one that understands how much money you have. But you have decided my children would go to these sort of schools, like private schools. to help them. Where they are coming from, they may not even get the opportunity to go to school. But when they come here, I'm able to put them in public schools, because then I can afford to give my children what I want to give them and put those relatives in public schools. I'll make sure there's a roof over their head. I'll make sure that they eat food, and I'll make sure that they are clothed and they have confidence and there's dignity. But I may not be able to give them the luxury on top. But we have found that people feel, when they grow up, they will say, they maltreated me. Their children, yes, their children went abroad to school. We didn't get to go abroad.
And
we
God help you.
Yes.
God help
so
you.
You forget.
Nigeria is more successful than the one that goes abroad. Yeah. Oh my God, the whole of Nigeria.
So the thing is, we need to also talk, but that is not about that person. So it's not about the help you've given. It's just about ingratitude.
Yeah,
that
on the person.
Yes, on the person. That person is not grateful. And we need to talk a bit. We need to have these conversations more, so that people understand that you are coming from a place and someone gave you an opportunity. Not have gotten. Stop being entitled, because we have
that. Let me take Fumi's call. Hello, Fumi, are you there? Hi, Fumi, are you there?
Hello?
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead,
Hello?
please. Good morning, Fumi, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Oh. Hello, Fumi, you're there.
I'm there.
We can hear you. Go ahead, you're live. Morning.
Yeah, I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm not really hearing you, but let me just be saying what I want to say.
Go ahead.
I'm hearing you. Good morning. Yeah, I want to contribute. And my contribution, I'm not really hearing you on the phone, but I can say what I want to say. Yeah. What I noticed is that for the lady to bring in somebody, it's not a problem for the lady to bring in a little child. But most of us make a mistake, like bringing somebody at the beginning of a marriage. Because honeymoon doesn't end with this 1 week of Manchester, whatever. Honeymoon is supposed for you to know yourself. So when you bring in a child, no matter how young, your attention is divided. So, and I noticed that the man, there's always a problem. When you want to talk to each other, because there's a third party there, you are skeptical, you are distracted, and you're not comfortable. So that's one of the reasons. If I were the lady, the first thing is that there must be an understanding that this little child must be taken care of. I can let the child be somewhere at the initial stage while I sponsor the child, the school, something. So maybe when the baby is, your baby is added to the family, the little child can come and join you. Probably you also have a house help or something. So that they will be in their own world, you'll be playing with the child, not having to be between you and your house. That's my own take.
Thank you, Fumi. So Fumi said that we'll put the child somewhere elsewhere whilst you go.
Someone is supporting her here. So Mount Rushmore says, nobody is even thinking about the 39-year-old lady whose biological clock is ticking. He calls that pathetic. And he said that if she were 22, there would be no problem. But she's 39. She's in dire straits. That's what he said.
So that was me saying
another
that
person said
Sinach,
the musician married at 45, that we are just the ones stressing ourselves.
No, look at the numbers. Look at the percentages. I mean, people get married at that age. So let's
like this person described, he said dire straits because she's not married, not because she can't feed, not because she's sick, not because she's unable to sleep. She's taking drugs.
Marriage is the trophy.
She cannot get married.
I was going to answer
when
she talked about the child that you were raising. The conversations around such children is why we have ingrates when they grow up. It's not the child necessarily. The child is going to school and coming back. But maybe there's another relative involved. And you don't hear the person say, hey, that person will come to the house and say, Oga, maybe your wife's decision is, my children will go to my alma mater, I went to QC, I went to DC, and all of those things. And they put the children there. But you bring a relative who you want to give an opportunity. You say, no, I don't like these opportunities that you have in the village. I want you to come to town. And they bring you to town, they put you in any school at all. But you find a relative call in and say, we are your real mothers. These people don't love you. So maybe their children.
Why you not carrying
the conversations around the child, eventually and then also the conversation within the home. You cannot have a child growing alongside your child, and the conversations around that child, about that child, are not kind. Your wife and you are talking, or we're talking and the child walks in. Rather than have courtesy and be quiet and say, can we have a minute, we're talking? You say, why are you eavesdropping? Why are you this and that? Always negative around the child. You can't be negative around the child that you're raising. The child will grow up ingrate. Because people like to say the child, when the child, they say, maybe they sent you to school, I told you. No, it might be about the kind of atmosphere that you created around the child when you were raising the child.
Let me take this call from Tokumbo. Tokumbo, are you there? Hello, Tokumbo from Bagada. Tokumbo, are you there? I think he's not online.
Some people don't like all this kind of wahala. That's why they just take a walk. They just come and peep and say, ah, this one has 15 people behind her, 20 people here, 30 people here. Me, I cannot. And they just take a walk. Because some of these issues, they cannot deal with it. But for me, if you want to do good, let your good not be evil spoken of. And have a clear conscience in how you do your good. So the instance that you raise now where you have to put them in different schools because you know your pocket, you cannot afford to put all of them in the very finest schools. Put them in those schools, make them understand why you are doing that for them. I would have loved to put you in this school, but my means, I cannot, and I have to put them here. They were already here before you came, and this is all I can afford. But this, it will also give you good education. If we need to get you extra lesson teachers just to support you and all of that, the bottom line is that where you're coming from, you did not have this, and now I'm giving this to you, and I'm going to do my best to ensure that you enjoy what I'm giving to you. We always assume that these children don't have minds, and they don't think, and they don't process. They don't understand. They pick up energy. So when you consistently have these conversations, tomorrow when they grow and choose to become ungrateful, people around them will hear the conversation and say, even you say, now they're born you.
Let me take this call from Tokumbo. Tokumbo, are you there? Hello, Tokumbo, are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please don't listen to the TV. Listen to me.
My name is Tokumbo. Show anymore.
Yes, sir.
The first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
The first-time caller. Okay, good. I want to contribute to the... Yes, I want to contribute.
Go ahead.
My take is this. The man that says will not allow our needs to come in, live with them, I don't think it's wrong. Most of the times, we put the cart before the horse. For instance, between two of them, they can actually live and enjoy themselves. But when the third party is in there, anything else can happen. Recently, we discovered what happened between Baba Ijebu and the lady that was with, what's the name? That was living one of the princess here, living with princess. If anything goes wrong later on, and it was referred to that the man was alleged that something happened between him and the niece, how would the man be able to defend himself? Because these days, a lot of things happen. I don't know what is in the mind of the man, but peradventure is what I'm thinking too. But we cannot live out this truth that anything can happen.
So saying that the man feels that he's an abuser and does not want to come close to any children, then you should not even be marrying that person because you don't want to have your children.
No, but let's take from what he's saying. What if this man is an abuser? So shouldn't I start from a clean slate to even be sure, okay,
no, that means my own children will be with an abusive. No. It is, that means even more than ever. Let him just
let the relationship cuckoo scatter.
But you know what? I want us to just concentrate on this conversation.
I want us to also pick on what Fumi said. I want us to put yourself as you are right now in that woman's shoes. So you have that 8-year-old girl with you. Wouldn't you say, Obiajulu, please, can she stay with you for 1 year? Just
I don't have space.
Wait. Because Obiajulu, can this girl stay with you for just at least a few months while I just got married, settle in, get myself together, let me even know? Because we're trying to see the reality. Or are we saying that that man must, at all costs, accept you with this child?
But that's different now. Even men that have children from previous marriage, when they are going on honeymoon, they don't say, please, I'm coming with my children. They understand now. But first of all, you would have agreed that that child is now yours and lives in our household. But we're now off to spend some time alone. you do staycation or whatever, even your own biological children, you're like, see, not today.
You're not following
That's
me.
a whole different arrangement, but that arrangement is based on the fact that that man has accepted that child as yours, and that child is a part of your household. So,
yeah, so
really, for me, I don't think that is a big deal.
I think women need to start learning, and it also stems from self-worth, setting standards for yourself. I once broke up a relationship because the guy told me that I can't go for that beauty pageant. And I said, this is something I want to do. This is something I love. And you claim you love me, and you're asking me that if I have to be in this relationship, I must not do that. This is just a tip in the iceberg of all the things I want to do. So if at this stage, we're even very young, at this stage, you have not even paid dowry, you have not married me, nothing, you can categorically tell me that I dare you, you must not do this. That means that you will stop me from all the things that I love to do because you are the man and everything.
No, hold on. Because of your age, that's why you were young.
That's what I'm saying. So me having my self-worth till today, if this is what I want to do, and you cannot find a way to love me and love the things that I love, now, come on, you will take a walk.
Yes. Let me take Perpetual, that I'll come to you, Nima. Perpetual, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live.
Good morning.
Go ahead,
morning.
please. Good morning.
Hello, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Okay, quickly, I just want to contribute. Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
We can hear you very clearly.
Okay, please, quickly, I just want to contribute. Now, that lady should not be in that marriage in the first place, because everything about that marriage is going to be conditional. Her movement to be conditional, she will be at the mercy of that man. If that man cannot accept that child, come on, she's just a child who is finding something. All she needs is just love, tiny love, give it to her. So in fact, this marriage is dead on arrival. If that man cannot accept that child right now, together with everything about that marriage is going to be conditional. Our movement, our set of friends, our friend group, after if they even go to somewhere, she will just be at the mercy of that man. That marriage will not work. I am saying it.
Thank you.
So
nobody's questioning the issue of love, but it's the economics of it that we're talking about.
This woman has money.
People are talking about, can we afford? We're just starting out. We want to get a house. We want to get a car. We want to have some children for school fees. Do we have to have this as an additional burden? You know,
I mean, it's like this. You're married. Just as you cannot predict if you will have children, just as you cannot predict what you will spend trying to get fertility treatments, you can't predict anything at all. So you make up your mind open to love and to hold. No matter where it comes. It's the same way it comes. Plus the 8-year-old child.
Now you don't come.
So if you have married that woman with the plan that there's an 8-year-old child, all plans will always protect and provide. I wanted to talk about the energy and the conversations around children again when they're in your house.
Yes.
I had my nephew spend the holiday this last holiday, and I used to read to my children at night. Sometimes we will animate and we'll tickle. The first time he didn't get along. And then I usually do this with my children. I will ask, how are you feeling? I was like, why are you asking me? Don't you want it? So, no, because these are the regular conversations.
You have.
As long as you're in the house, I will ask, how are you feeling? What's your day? And I will ask you as well.
Yeah.
And every time, I miss my mom. I was okay, don't worry. Just 2 more days and you go. See, the boy do 3 weeks. So you make sure that the conversations around the child is such that the child can never, even if somebody is filling up anything, the child will eventually say, well, we have a good relationship. And people will always feel that up a child's mind with negative. But if you don't do the negative, where would they want to pick it from? And you can always say if you're tired. You can say, no, today, no play in my room, no play around me. I want to staycation,
and
all the shows.
Okay,
but make sure that there's clarity and concise conversations with the child.
Okay, let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning, Morayo.
Hassan, you're live. Go ahead, please.
The high table.
Good morning, sir.
Morayo, my condolences to you.
Oh, God.
May God continue to be your strength.
Thank you, sir.
This is a trying moment for you. Secondly, you see those 3 ladies by your side. They are all subjective. Don't mind them.
Awesome.
What do you do to an 8-year-old child?
No man. It's a matter of wish. No man will ever wish to start his matrimony with logic.
Same with women.
No man. And no woman also will wish to go into a marriage with logic.
It's a reality.
Yes, sir.
You see, there's a place here. We are talking about the structure. We are leaving the foundation. And the foundation is what the structure will rest on. You as Christians, you are leaving the courtship out of it. As a Muslim, we are leaving probation out of it. In courtship, you get to know all this. In probation, you get to know all this. If there's a luggage, if there are luggage, you get to know. You understand? And it's easier for you to walk away. You understand? That's the time you have a discussion. It is not when a lady is already in. You.
Okay, thank you, Hassan.
They're still in courtship now.
But see, staying on what Hassan just said, a woman getting into a marriage where the man has, for example, 3 children. Yes, you go in there accepting, maybe unlike the man that is still questioning. The woman will go in there accepting. But even in her acceptance, the acceptance hasn't entered.
You mean that?
So
I entered into a marriage.
I'm just saying that sometimes it's all the way in.
She went
and you go in there, and there's still that competition of, okay, the school fees, this year you're sharing this to them, are you giving my son the exact same attention you're giving to this person? There's always that competition. Yeah, so it's become a problem for a woman. So though you accept it, but sometimes it's not an easy thing. Right. Yours is a bit different because they're much older than your kids. Okay. So there's not that comparison. But when you have kids around the same age, there's going to be that competition.
No, there's no comparison because of the way she is, or the kind of person. Hold on, Niman. Because of the kind of person she is. So she understood that she was coming in, and she was meant to, I have to love everybody. I've already chosen this man. I will love him with his children or whatever it is. But there are some women who, they are naturally very competitive. So the fact that you have had 3 or you have had 7, my children, you see that school that those ones went, even when I was not there, I did not make the money with you. When mine comes, they will do the same thing. There's already that competition.
Can I just add, because it's your story. It's my story. Acceptance, I think first of all, we need to understand acceptance is a doing word. So it's not something you just come and then it happens. Yeah. It means that so many things have been put into consideration, and every day is also a journey towards acceptance. So I would not come here and paint you a picture of, and then I got in and then it was just all so perfect. There were questions, of course, every time, like, if you're here, then what happens to me? And we had to do that constant reassuring, back and forth, understanding each other. As long as I was sure that the decisions that were taken out of love, respect, honesty, kindness, it was enough for me. So it was not, I did not feel like I was being scammed or made a fool of. If I thought that way in my acceptance, it would show in my response. So this girl, therefore,
should have that conversation was very clear and legit.
And let's even when he accepts, they will still be having conversation. A lot of people feel that just because there's a little friction, then everything has fallen apart. No, you would now then cross that bridge and strengthen the bond. That's it.
We call it whispers in Islam, where you have thoughts in your head. You will have it every time. You wonder, where do I stand? Where do my children stand? What exactly is he trying to do? Why does he love his mother too much? Why is it his mother's kind of thinking that is aligning towards? Maybe she advised him and he took his advice over. You will have those thoughts every time, but you must have certain standards that you must control yourself with. So there are standards that you mustn't cross when it comes to his loved ones before he married you. Just the same for the woman. The loved ones that she had. If you tell a woman today, because some men do it in Islam, Muslim men, they will say, because I have to permit your relationships. So I don't want you to be with your family too much or your mother too much. Yeah, I always say at every place I speak about marriage, even if we have entered the marriage, we enter it immediately. Because you take away the things that I value when you put those barriers. It's the same way about a child. Even if I loved you and I've entered, so because some men will deceive and say, no, it's a child, I will love her. And then when you're married, they're pregnant, they're not giving you things. The moment we enter, we unenter. when the things change, that affects the people that I know they don't have any other person but me to depend on. It's the same way about the whispers that you have. When you have set your standards about the children, the 3 children you meet there, that you will never be unfair, unjust to them. Anyway, even when the whispers come, you control it.
Oh, Labi, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm once in a while caller.
Once in a while, Costa. Get one more welcome. Bam.
This topic is very, very important. Don't let us take it for granted. You can accept, and some cannot accept. And sometimes some people accept the children to their house, but deep down themselves don't accept. And there are some children you accept inside your house. They are ingrate. This is a true life story that happened to my uncle, my personal uncle. Do you know, coming into their house, this lady doesn't have any educational background. I said, come, you can't stay with my kids without having an education. Send this girl on PT, this and that, NYSC, this and that, fast forward to wedding. Do you know this girl has health country? Because my uncle and his wife have issue in the house. Do you know this girl has to text? I know the person is listening right away. I don't mind. This person has to text my uncle that this is the anger that your dad died on. This and that. Don't worry. You still creep like your father. Do you know, up to this moment, we been trying to beg my uncle that just forgive this person. He said they have forgiven. But this person that took from village down to the city, now to live with my wife. So don't let us look at it as if, let's compare, let's just look at the children that you are accepting to your house. But for me, I can't accept anybody into my house, be the children, be even a year. Because one, there will be a level of, okay, my children is going to certain school and you are going to certain school. Me jumping up and down, I'm struggling every day and
Thank you, Ola.
Okay, let me take this message from P. Tony Onaiki. It says, all of you discussing this issue had your marriages early without any issues. So it's difficult to understand the situation this lady is in. She wants to be married and believes her fulfillment will come from there. I think you guys need to also understand from the lenses of the man who wants to marry a woman that will not be distracted from the very beginning of the marriage. My wife's intimacy with me began to wane when we started having children, and it grew worse when our kids became adults because she had replaced what we had together with the kids. So please don't blame the guy. He may have had some experiences like this that marred his previous relationship. So when your intimacy reduced because you people started having kids, did you ship the kids away to the motherless baby's home so that you can have intimacy? There are some issues that can be worked on. Everybody's intimacy level at some point will reduce because of, even if it's not the children, it could be work, it could be stress, it could be anything that will reduce it. But see, marriage is a constant journey. We keep working on it. We keep going forward. We keep, the issues will come. Nobody has a perfect marriage on this table. But we keep working on it. So you don't say, because you don't want this issue to happen, you will now displace or truncate another child's destiny.
You know something? What people are talking, we have to always remember our 5 fingers are not equal. Everybody gets dished different things. So if you get dished, it's whereby you have a child to take care of. That's your kadara. That's your own responsibility right there. Take it and make the best use of it. If you have the perfect love story, that's you. But if that's your situation, then you have to accept it.
I wanted to quickly add to what BC said. So if you don't know how to do something, you learn it and ask people who've done it. I had to move in with my auntie 2 years of marriage. And she would be with me and just say, hey, I want to go and stay with my husband. That's the end of the conversation till tomorrow. That's the end.
Exactly.
Immediately, if I need to, and I will be with the baby, and if I need to do anything, I will flash, say baby, or I send an SMS, and we lead. If you don't know how people did things, nobody kicked me out. I had my room. Nobody kicked me anywhere.
I'll put you
and I came and I knew she needed help. I was sent there to go and give service. I gave the service 110%. I don't know. I raised that girl. I did not even know. In school, I was the one who went with the baby for all our awards, and she was an A girl. Every award in class, everything, even tests in school, everything I was doing. My auntie had a fun time, a career, and a family.
I even forgot my own story. You know that, I just remember that even me, I'm a victim, that They shipped me to the US. I was there when he got married. Yeah. I was entering his by design.
They should have shipped you to.
Me too. I was part of the entrance of the marriage. So we're coming from the church, everything together. I started their marriage with them.
Yeah.
So
you would have looked very hot as a maid.
Wow.
The first time I was in my auntie's room was when I was one traveled. I quickly rolled on the bed. This is how this bed feels.
Well, I think the lady, if she's listening, you've gotten quite a bit of an advice. I think generally the idea is that, listen, if he loves you truly, it takes you. And life treats us differently. There are people who have been through the shoes that you're going through, and they can help you. It's not the end of the world. You can actually still make it work. So if he loves you, he will stay with you.
He will stay with you.
That's all we can take on the show. Hope you learned a few things. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.